I'm at an infamous squatter house in Tigard, Oregon, okay? Multiple homeless people live here, and actually families. The homeowner originally was very much embracing people living here because they were in a tight spot and needed a place to go. Over the years, they've kind of just completely taken over, and now she's completely overwhelmed and wants them to go. The problem is she now has to go through the eviction process. And this house has been completely and utterly destroyed. In there's a smashed out car. It's pretty nice. It's possibly stolen, right? Doors are open, smashed windows, trash everywhere. It's actually a very large property. Very unsafe. People are yelling, a lot of dogs. There's unfortunately a ton of kittens around everywhere too. I was here a few days ago. There was a fire. First responders showed up, took out the fire. Met a citizen who begged the firefighters, can you at least go talk to the family that's up here? They said, no, that's not what we do. That's not our job. That, of course, annoys me because, you know, if it's not your job, whose job is it? So anyway, on the property, it's very, very sketchy. Tons of trash, tens of thousands of pounds of trash, really. And I don't think the city just realizes just how bad it is. It goes all the way back. It's a couple acres, not to mention these deep woods filled with homeless people. Look at the trash behind me. Thousands and thousands of pounds. I'm going to show you the front yard really quickly. It used to be a nice house, and then, you know, everything just sort of went to hell. So, you know, we actually knocked on the door. I was going to talk to the owner and be like, is there any way we can help? She is maybe terrified to come outside, but like, this is the front. And just a few minutes ago, this guy came out of here screaming, again, just filled with chaos, and it's just wild.
They go, no, we don't do that. That's what he said. No, we don't do
So
that.
they don't do that, but there were 7 of them, so then who does that?
That's what I asked.
And my concern is it's not like they're going to tell anybody to do that because they said they don't do that, so they just drive away, and these people are now still in need.
Right.
And again, 7 of them. You don't think one person has time driving back to the fire station to simply make a call, especially since you literally verified, I've been here, I've been in this house, there are displaced families, there are people in need. Can you make a call? Because they have more access to resources than you do.
Okay. If I can put my 2 cents in, I feel, because they're homeless, they probably, this is sort of bad thing to say, but I think that some people don't care because of they don't have a home. That's what they feel when I'm talking to them. They feel like, well, nobody's here to help us. We don't know what to do. The insurance guy said, well, you can do this, and then call somebody. It was another matter. The insurance system was here. So I'm not quite sure why they came by the second time. The fire was 4 hours earlier. They didn't do anything but look around.
Yeah.
And I thought they were here to help, basically say, hey, did you get the resources you need? So that's...
Yeah, well, and that's a pet peeve of mine when I hear things like, it's not my job, it's not what I do. If not you, then who? Especially since you're a first responder with a lot more access to resources than most people.
Right.
You could easily make a call and get something to happen, but they drove away saying, this isn't what we do. So the mess you see behind me was created by one homeless person in one day. This was completely clean yesterday. Now, it doesn't really seem like the biggest mess you've ever seen, and that's true, but it's going to cost the city a couple $1,000s to clean because they're going to have to call a clean team, which they have a grant to clean things like this. So several employees will be involved, and the homeless person who was here has now moved across the street to create another mess. And so you've seen an increase in sexual advances, sexual assaults?
Correct. Prostitution. It needs to be seriously, we need serious attention to this here in the city. And human trafficking is a big thing here, and it's absolutely evident, and there is evidence everywhere.
Can you tell me more about the human trafficking out here?
It's sick.
I've tried, and it just seems like I didn't get any responses from the place I went to, or the, I guess, outlets I had from my initial evaluation. So I haven't really heard back on anything from that.
So you made an effort to get off the streets. You went to the providers, and
I haven't heard back from the people that I was went to sent through. Even through Just Compassion here, East West or East branch. There's also one in Beaverton. I've known about them for years, but really nothing.
And how long have you been waiting?
Well, I've been out. So in this local area, I've been here 2.5, 3 years. But I really only initialized the process like 4 months ago. But I mean, I need housing. Then most of what they do is just the bandage situation. Here's a new tent. Here's a new sleep bag. Here's a limited resource list of things you can do or get to. But
well, tent, sleeping bag, water. That's a very temporary solution.
yeah.
What about the permanent solutions?
It still in the works. It seems like sometimes the caseworkers for some of the places that we go to, they're not always permanent. They get into a situation, or they come to Just Compassion, they learn some things, and then they move on to another job that might pay better, or they move between branches. It just doesn't seem like there's a person permanent enough to continue the operation. I don't know.
Well, I hear this a lot too when I interview the homeless. Is they're so fed up with the social service system, they stop trying.
Yeah. It takes a lot to try. They say you have to be communicated with them, but it's a two-way road, and if we don't hear back from them one way or another, it's like, okay, I initialized the process. They said there's flyers or email gets sent out to transitional housing, and then nothing comes back from transitional housing, because when you got sent there, that person is no longer in that position, and they can't do anything about it, so the email just doesn't get answered. And that's, yeah, it gets frustrating a little bad. Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. And so you've seen an increase in sexual advances, sexual assaults?
Correct. Prostitution. It needs to be seriously. We need serious attention to this here in the city. And human trafficking is a big thing here, and it's absolute evident, and there is evidence everywhere.
Can you tell me more about the human trafficking out here?
It's sick.
Where are you from?
My home is not on any of these worlds.
Any of these what?
We have currently 11 worlds that are, shall we say, rotating people and things in and out. It's not science fiction, it's reality.